It's also the closer we get to lunch, probably everyone's tongues will probably be. So, first things first, I also should apologise. Capri got left on the cutting room floor, so if you really want to know about the Capri bits, ask me about them later. The Marchesa Casati drew on the existing memory and the cachet of the sites that she inhabited and culturally significant figures, often attached to them or culled from elsewhere, to create her own mythology, but also to incorporate herself into existing mythologies. She adapted narratives, put her own stamp on them, and she refused to be stymied by trifling little things like reputation, scandal, or transgression. She drew on history, myth, and legend to bring creatures and characters back to life in this range from, say, Sissi of Austria to Medusa. There is a totemic element to her curation of persona, and each has specific implications in terms of what image she was constructing of herself and of herself as part of the fabric of the city that she happened to be in at any given moment. Her adaptation of existing figures was part of an effort to strengthen and reflect an outward image of her own personal sense of kinship with these different characters. She was a living work of art. She was a new temple, a masterpiece. She was divine. She was there as the sun, the moon, the Adriatic personified. There was actually one outfit where she was the sun and literally the centre of the universe, with friends who'd come along in other costumes. They were satellite planets in her orbit. She was magical. She was mysterious. She was a mistress of illusion and transformation, which was also in keeping with the intrigue and disguise around, say, Carnival in Venice and the darker undercurrents of Gothic novels that were set within the city and, I suppose you could say, darker periods within Venetian history or different elements of Venetian history. As part of the process of creating herself, the Marchesa appropriated Venice's iconography along with the city itself. She melded the symbolism of images found in a specifically Venetian context and their broader or their older meanings, such as the lion or the phoenix. Indeed, she became the lion itself, which was a polysemic signifier, if you like, central to the city, but also with broader layers of meaning. The works representing the Marchesa over the past century demonstrate how, in incorporating the history and the iconography of Venice into her own drive to achieve immortality through art, Casati has now become part of the city's history and popular memory. These were all photos, or most of them are photos that were actually set within Venice. So down the bottom by Montenegro, this is sort of her on the steps to her palazzo with this sort of her servant who is, are they pomegranates, are they hearts, we're not quite sure. Her with one of her pets in the garden. This middle one was by Kees van Dongen. This was at one of her parties where people would arrive from the Grand Canal, they'd disembark, and she sort of scrutinised everyone through a crystal monocle or a looking glass. And this last one is by Alberto Martini, with whom she signed a contract, and she basically engaged him as a court painter. She did a deal with him, and he created an enormous number of works of her in various guises. So, Luisa Casati was born in 1881 in Milan to the Conte and Contessa Aman, who had recently been ennobled for the Conte's services to the Italian cotton industry. By the age of 15, however, Luisa and her sister Francesca, Fanny, were orphaned, but they were the wealthiest heiresses in Italy at that time. In 1900, Luisa married the Marchese Camillo Casati in a fusion of new money and old title. By 1903, she had embarked on her first affair with the writer and dandy Gabriele D'Annunzio. Their relationship, which was by turns a meeting of the minds, physical attraction, and a long-distance romance, lasted until his death in the 30s. He was 38, 39. She inspired several of his works of fiction and poetry. In addition to her affair with D'Annunzio, Casati later had affairs with Kees van Dongen, Augustus John, Romaine Brooks, and potentially others. Over the course of her life, the Marchesa nicknamed variously Core, Gorée, I should say, using French pronunciation, and La Divine Marchesa by D'Annunzio, reinvented herself and the spaces she inhabited in order to become, in her own words, a living work of art. This is one of the, she didn't seem to leave very much in the way of sound bites or quotes. One of the few things we can definitely attribute to her was she sort of made this declaration, I want to be a living work of art. She established herself as a muse and as a salon hostess, cultivating relationships with artists, musicians, performers, writers, and eccentrics across Europe and America. In addition to supporting the arts, the Marchesa became renowned for her parties and her costumes, being wealthy enough to hire Piazza San Marco on several occasions for a series of galas. She was also one of the first clients of the Venice-based designer Mariano Fortuny, and she helped popularise outfits like the Delphos dress. This was in an age where Isadora Duncan and Martha Graham, like that, actresses would wear it. She was the first non-actress to be a regular client, and that was when it sort of took off. Louise occupied residences and luxury hotels across Italy, France, Switzerland, and Britain, also with trips to Peru, India, and North America. By the 1930s, however, she had amassed a debt of approximately $30 million US, and after auctioning off many of her possessions, including curios and a whole gallery of portraits of herself, she came to London, where she died in 1957. She's buried in Brompton. You can visit her. She's in the non-conformist section, but it's actually quite a small grave, and they let the grass grow there as a conservation initiative. You might not be able to find it. People still visit, though. They leave offerings and things, which is fake pearls and feathers and candles and sorts of bits and pieces. Cassal was the embodiment of a confluence of texts and influences within a city that was itself the site of confluence between East and West, and at the dawn of the 1900s, of past and present in an artistic sense. The choice of her going to Venice is a bit of an interesting one, because it was simultaneously decried by the Futurists, and she was actually friends with a number of the Futurists. So one of those artworks was by Giacomo Balla. She also, there were artworks by Debé, or the Futurist Dance Manifesto was composed in her salon and I think dedicated to her. She was friends with Magnetti and a lot of the keys of Futurists. But so they decry Venice as una città passatista, so as a city stuck in the past. But it was also the home of the emerging sort of modern art scene, considering Biennale had only been created in about 1895, so it was still kind of the early years of that. Using the iconography of the city to assert her supremacy, she demonstrated what she was capable of by drawing on these other contexts and individuals. So, for instance, she posed as Circe to suggest her power as a witch there, or as the Comtesse de Castiglione to show her influence as a muse. By creating events like the Ballolonghi, there was a series of parties around 1912, 1913, she revived the heady days of the Venetian Republic, but with her own glory as the ultimate focus. In a sense, Louisa engages in a process of what Voltaire and Grissom term repurposing, so by making the mythology of the city part of her own and vice versa. And this has actually continued since her death with the Marchesa's image and the broader trend of popular culture co-opting underground culture for profit. So one of the things that I often do find myself ranting quite often about is a figure like Lady Gaga. There's this huge copy-paste thing that's got, there is nothing new under the sun. That's a whole other discussion. But there are a lot of people who have used Louisa as a musical burlesque, cabaret, Dita Von Teese. Again, I've got issues with Dita, but that's another thing. But Louisa as this left field, underground kind of character, then she gets taken on as a muse in all couture collections by burlesque performers, then burlesque gets taken over by pop culture and it enters the mainstream, so there's this thread, kind of autofad, if you like, that it carries through. Louisa likely saw memory as connected to her own conception of immortality. By being remembered and represented, she would be able to achieve her goals. But she was also interested, I believe, in actual immortality, because she also had a great interest in occultism and alchemy, something that I don't have time to talk about at the moment, but it's a separate, really interesting discussion. But by choosing Venice, she was not only able to live somewhere that I think kind of appealed to her and fit with her chimerical nature, but it was a more fitting arena. As a smaller space than previous cities that she lived in, like Rome and Milan, she had additional scope to make a bigger mark on the city, distinguish herself at the same time as being able to involve herself in Venetian artistic life. Moreover, the implications of the city so popular with artists across several centuries meant that she could position herself as the next generation of muse, kind of the next big thing in a creative sense. So, where Tintoretto painted portraits of dogaresse and nobles, Luisa dressed as a dogaressa, accompanied by a pet panther called Tintoretto. So, she could then inspire portraits from emerging and established artists of the 20th century and embroider herself into the fabric of the city. So we see here the two on the sides are both by Alberto Martini. The one in armour, she's actually dressed as Cesare Borgia, and the dagger she owned, which was apparently also owned by Cesare Borgia himself. In the middle, I can't quite figure out, I've seen this described as Arlecchino Bianco. It might be Pierrot, especially because she loved Bernhardt. She was a big Bernhardt fan. Bernhardt dressed as Pierrot around 1883, so it could be a link to that. And then this work, can't quite see because of the shadow, but she's actually kind of starting to take flight. She's metamorphosing and taking flight over a canal. Again, the image quality is not fantastic, but the backdrop is a canal, so she's almost about to sort of float off over the water. In addition to supporting the arts, the Marchesa became no, did I say that? Yes, I did. According to Astrogolan and Ribny, an individual can become a site of memory, but then if that's applied to Louisa, her ability and her multiple transformations make her a rather more complex and slippery sort of site, or rather a conglomeration of memory that has itself taken on new significance since her death. Elizabeth Rose writes in Bodied Cities of the female bodies having an emblematic link to the city or space that she inhabits, which I believe one can see with Louisa reinventing herself but relying on the past to create a new future. Louisa's taste for pageantry and for pomp can be seen as evocative of the, if you like, the glory days of the Republic of Venice. And I think there's the Renaissance link, but also the 18th century, and the atmosphere of carnival and the masquerade, balls, popularity during the 18th century for masquerades, and also the popularity of processions that ended at Piazza San Marco. So the idea of her, that she would have a cortege that would start at her residence on the canal, the Grand Canal, and work its way around to San Marco, and then she would descend to much fanfare, and people who lived nearby would hire out their front rooms so that people could watch from the windows, and there was a whole, it really was, there was a whole performance to it. She also revived practices that are connected to the history and memory of Venice, most particularly cicisbeismo. And this was popular among noble Venetian families during the 18th century, and it had added implications for sexual transgression, which would not have escaped her notice, and I think that's also probably part of the reason why she did it, because there's the idea of either the cicisbeo either as lover and companion of the lady, or because the cicisbeo was homosexual. And so we see here, again, a nod to Sarah Bernhardt. This was 1905. She had Bernhardt's costume recreated by Lelig for her own, for a Byzantine-themed ball. And this is from a graphic novel published very recently by Vanna Vinci. It's called La Casati, la Musa Egoista, so how do you translate it? The egotistical muse, I suppose. Which I think kind of isn't totally on the money, but it's very interesting. It's been published in Italian and in French. She adapted the imagery of the city not only to strengthen her ties to Venice, but because it spoke to a pre-existing identification with creatures like the lion, which is one of the emblems of the city. Louise became both a lion and a tiger at one point, and she kept lions as pets. At one party, she entered as Cavili on a chariot drawn by lions. She was also known for walking various species of big cat around Venice, and this is something people still talk about, her sort of midnight passeggiate strolls across Piazza San Marco with a python wrapped around her neck and shoulders as a living necklace, and cheetahs and lions and diamond-studded leashes. Honestly, I had to go to the post office in Venice, and they said, "Oh, okay, you've been to the Pleasure Gazettes and books." I said, "Yeah, I'm here to look at Louise Mazzati," and the woman said, "Oh, hang on a sec." She leans back, calls out to the guy that's a few rooms down. He's writing about the Marchesa. You know, they still remember her. They still kind of rave about the parties that she threw and her exploits, if you like. Alternatively, Louise also wore lion fur or various animal furs, and she used that in her decorating. She used the winged lion of San Marco on her letterheads for a time, which is interesting because she's appropriating the dual significance of the overtones of the lion, potentially also the religious overtones of the lion, but it's also alongside the use of the insignia of the lion of San Marco by a prominent Venetian family. So it's almost like sort of making her stamp, and there's a sense of kind of belonging and identification, even though she was not Venetian born. She was still very much sort of situating herself as a stalwart, if you like, of the city. This ties in with her occupying the Palazzo dei Leoni, which is now the Guggenheim collection. A ruin since the 1700s, Louisa bought the building, which gained its name either from the lions on the facade, which I don't think you can really properly see, but down bottom here, there are lions' heads just above the water that time up. But there were also lions reputedly kept in the garden. Soon Louisa had both, and she transformed the space into the site of parties amongst her pets. So there were lions, albino peacocks, and clockwork blackbirds. She kept the facade as a ruin though, so it looked derelict from the outside, but she completely transformed it inside. She famously declared to the artist Martini, she said, "Make me a lion, I see myself, I feel myself to be a lion. Mi vedo, mi sento leone, fatemi leona, non leonessa, make me a lion, not a lioness." And so, you know, this combination of the artworks, her clothing, her pets, her residence, her letterheads, it all sort of, and her aesthetic, it all sort of cemented and complemented her inner state. At one point she did. She had travelled to India, she found out that she was told that she was the reincarnation of the tiger, so she changed her hair to have tiger stripes, and she wore lots of tiger furs, and she kept tigers around her. And so, you know, depending on what was going on internally, that would then find its expression. There also existed artworks depicting Louisa as the Phoenix, and thereby creating a further connection between her and Venice as the home of La Fenice. This in turn links to the other spaces that Louisa inhabited, like the Opera Garnier, where she hosted a ball dressed as the Comtesse de Castiglione, which was an outfit that actually required 5 attendants and a monkey in a tricorn hat to navigate down the stairs. And you can see why she's stuck around as a muse for designers. There was the 1998 Galliano Dior Couture collection that was held in the Garnier, and a lot of those pieces were inspired by Louisa, and Louisa being inspired by the Comtesse de Castiglione. So again, there's a sense of continuity. In a recent talk, Charlotte Hopkins of the London Metropolitan Archives argued that costume and masquerade enables one to adopt a new persona and to be granted license to behave differently, to be in character. I argue that in Louisa's case, this isn't quite so. The costume was more an external identifier of her inner state, and it reflected her attitude or her sense of self at any given moment, the fact that it was constantly evolving and not fluctuating, but she would sort of move backwards and forwards and across time periods, and she would come back to something later on, she would adopt a particular guise and then move on and evolve a little bit, and then she'd come back to it, but in a slightly reinterpreted kind of a way. She was always, it wasn't a question of, okay, I'm bored with this image now. It was always something present within kind of her arsenal of guises, if you like, that she would pick up on in the moment. The image of Venice in popular fiction during the 19th century had also evolved, and this is something that she wove into her look as well, because during the late 19th century there was this idea of Venice as being synonymous with decadence in the sense of decay and with intrigue. This is reflected in Gothic and decadent literature of the period. And similarly, D'Annunzio set a number of his works in Venice, and Luisa appears as a character in a number of his works. So in Forse che sì, forse che no, Isabella in Hirami dresses in Fortuny and she throws beautiful parties, and she's this tall, thin, elegant donna d'Annunziana, and it's basically, he wrote the novel, it's incestuous as well, which is another aspect, but he basically wrote their relationship sort of as he would have loved it to pan out in Forse che sì, forse che no. But there's this interplay of Louise's influence, the city's influence, and her performance of self. So we also see in Notturno, there are scenes that are lifted directly from Luisa Casati's parties, and she was also a muse for La Figure du Cire, which is sort of a Gothic horror story in which a wax model steals the life of her human counterpart. Luisa also had a life-size wax model of herself made. She would have seated at the dinner table, and they'd dress alike, she'd dress identically and sit there, and then, freak people out and move. She also had a life-size wax replica made of Mary Betzeder, murder wounds and all, and she would sort of keep it stashed in a cupboard, and someone would ask her a question, and she'd say, oh, it's over in that wardrobe, you'll need to go, and they'd open the door, and this corpse would come tumbling out, and that was because she had a fascination with the Mayoring affair, and that, but there's also this morbidity, the same way that she came to a party at one point, she sort of went, oh, I'm suffocating, and she pretended to she looked like she was going to slit her own throat. She actually sliced open her dress so that she could breathe a little more easily, But anyway, so this all connects to the chronology of the city. It's seen as, I've just been talking about murder victims and so on, but a happier one, prior to the fall of the city, and simultaneously suggesting a continuation of 19th century trends in art and literature. And her parties are suggestive or evocative of a revival of the pre-Napoleonic, pre-1797 party atmosphere, alongside the English fascination with the decay of the city and the romantic vision of Venice as a city of fantasy and history, or imagination and flights of fancy. When becoming a creature or a person, Luisa always had a reason, and the persona that she embodied were rarely, if ever, less than in control. To link back to the Arlecchino Piero figure, this is one of the other reasons why I'm not quite sure where he fits, because if it's Arlecchino, he's a dumb, he's a servant, and so all the implications of that figure within the Commedia. Is it because he is Lombard and so is she? Is it the Venetian links to the Commedia dell'arte tradition? I'm not sure. It's a bit of an anomaly when you compare Arlecchino to Circe or Lady Macbeth or an Amazon on horseback or any number of the other figures that she became. But some of these had their genesis in stories that she was told as a child, such as Ludwig of Bavaria or Empress Sissi. So again, it goes back to the fascination with the maiden fair. Women that she had admired all her life, such as Sarah Bernhardt, Castiglione, Cristina Tribuzio, after whom she named her daughter. On occasion, there was crossover, so Sissi also spent time in Venice, which Louisa would have been aware of, and she did dress as Sissi on at least one occasion. So on the left, we see her dressed as Sissi, accompanied by her horses, Flick and Flock, and this made the cover of Tatler in 1935. The middle is in the garden, I believe, of the Palazzo dei Leoni. So this was while she was in Venice. Paul César Helleux, who also finished a portrait of her, is the one in the sort of turban headdress. Boldini, having to stand on the phone book, is he also painted a number of portraits of her, including as Salome and a few other different characters. And the one on the right was painted while she was on Capri by Romain Brooks. So, to wrap this all up, Casati constructed herself as what you could very easily describe as an unregulated body. She collapsed boundaries across time, space, species, and gender. And I think she, as a result, prompted envy, disdain, fascination, all in equal measure. Ultimately, she did succeed in becoming immortal through art, and she's still spoken of today. And so her exploits and memory is still very much connected to Venice, but has had, I suppose, an unforeseen consequence benefit of moving very much beyond the confines of where she would have expected or the circumstances.